What's up, Shiftlings? I'm Project and welcome to my Giga Tips video for Nioh 2. Nioh 1 was often praised as a hardcore massacre game, and Nioh 2 is no different.
But Project, I have 2,000 hours in Soulsborne game.
Stop right there, kiddo. You might as well tell people you have 2,000 hours in Barbie's Dreamhouse Party, cause your Souls experience means nothing here. And in fact, the game plays to punish such a playstyle. Luckily, you have Sensei to teach you the ways of the ninja to either become the next Ryu from Ninja Gaiden or a power-hungry demon that can crush bosses into bloody puddles in seconds and rule over the demon realm. So give the video a like, subscribe, join the channel, and let's begin with the tips. The reason Nioh seems hard is because of its vast amount of mechanics you have to learn on top of enemy patterns. There's the key system, there's stance switching, learning multiple weapons, there's the Dark Realm, there's yokai skills, yokai burst counters, the loot system. It can all get overwhelming, but if you take it one step at a time, the game becomes more manageable. If you're brand new to the series, make sure to do the Dojo Basic Actions mission instead of going into the first main mission. This will teach you the bare bones basics so we can go straight into more advanced techniques. The most important thing to absolutely learn and make a habit of is perfect key pulsing. That is, key pulsing right when the white bar overtakes the red when consuming ki. If you're complaining about stamina, aka ki, then you're not key pulsing right. And actually, we're gonna skip that and make stance switch key pulsing a habit. To do this, you attack in one stance, and while the ki is refilling back up, you quickly change to a different stance and then finish the perfect key pulse in that stance. When you eventually get Flux 2 in the Samurai tree, you'll actually gain more ki than a normal ki pulse, which allows you to have more overall ki when attacking, so you can have some leftover to either block, dodge out of the way, or continue a combo string for much longer than before. Learning switch stance ki pulsing is step 1 to conquering Nioh 2. Step 2 is burst counters. This is a new mechanic where you briefly become your yokai form to counter an enemy's attack. However, there's 3 different forms which all have different mechanics regarding burst counter, as well as different timings to the burst counter. The upside is these burst counters can cancel any of your attacks, so you can be in mid combo and then simply press R2 plus circle to cancel your animation at the cost of 1 anima. Likewise, you can cancel spell animations such as ninja feathers to spam them out without the long recovery animation, making them even more potent. Brute form is the only form that's actually an attack, and is best used as soon as you see the enemy's red glowing animation. However, you'll need to be close to them to really stick the timing. Pharaoh form is a dodge, and is the easiest form to master for players that stick around mid-distance that use the counter more like an interrupt. It's arguably the most broken one as well. Phantom form is quite strictly a perfect parry one that requires precise timing, but otherwise it serves as a block if you do mess up. The drawback to Phantom is the block will drain your ki, whereas Feral and Brute do not. So each have their own gimmick that you'll be forced to choose between, as each form is locked to a certain spirit. If you wanted to use the Monkey Guardian spirit for its passives for your build, you might be stuck with a yokai form that you aren't that comfortable with. While you'll primarily use these forms to punish burst attacks, you can and should also use them in just general combat, since they can cancel most attack animations you do. Brute form serves as an attack, and during its animation, you'll regain your ki back. So Brute actually has combo potential, especially for heavy weapons to where you do a big string with your weapon and then finish it off with a burst counter. Similarly, Bull Feral is a get out of jail free card to dodge any attack you aren't confident you can block or dodge normally. Phantom form. Well, I guess it can block projectile or elemental attacks, but it's generally worse than the other two. Although, it does have the shortest recovery time after burst counter, allowing you to spam R2 plus circle to potentially counter a red attack if you aren't quite good at timing the counter. It's better suited towards heavier builds that don't take as much ki damage when blocking. Good thing to know is you can do burst counters and yokai shift as well, particularly good for the brute form, and you can spam it non-stop without wasting anima or gauge. So, if you can master both ki switch stancing and burst counters, congrats, you beat the game. But there's ways to make it even easier, such as using the bow or gun. If you want an overpowered tool early on, these will help a butt ton with clearing stages, headshot killing most humans in one hit, or taking out things like Gaki or Rocket Fist dudes. Likewise, against human bosses, you can usually land a headshot at the start of the fight for an easy final blow after. So definitely take advantage of your ranged weapons, as it makes clearing stages with tons of enemies in one spot way more manageable than rushing in yourself. You should buy extra ammo from the blacksmith, since early on, you don't really use your gold for much. 100 arrows or bullets goes a long way. Just make sure to click the left thumbstick so you can store the ammo in your storehouse, as you can only buy so much on your person. So, let's talk what skills you should get early on. Skill points are gained the more you use the source. So if you want more Nioh or ninjutsu points, simply equipping and using magic or spamming shurikens on enemies will gain you more skill points. Weapons have their own skill trees, so you'll have to actually use the weapon you want skills in to get more. But most people only ever use 2 weapons at most per build, so this isn't that big a problem. However, if you want that platinum, you're gonna have to get all of them. I believe samurai points is overall experience, while shifling is tied to how much you use burst counters and yokai skills, as well as using resting rights. So, a tip here for Nioh and ninjutsu specifically is shrine spamming. You pray at a shrine, you kill the nearby enemies with Nioh ninjutsu, you go back to the shrine to refresh your stock, and revive the enemies, and you repeat this over and over until you boost up your skill points. There is a boss called Deidara in mid-game in the high-spirited demon mission that is likely the best spot for any and all proficiency training. Equip proficiency bonus stats on your gear and watch your skill points skyrocket when fighting him. And you can lose on purpose to respawn at the shrine and try again. Additionally, you can use wooden weapons in dojo missions or from drops to gain boosted proficiency gain for that weapon. Now, I won't cover weapon skills as that'll be too complex, just get what you guys like, but starting with the samurai tree, you want these skills as soon as possible. Flux is numero uno to get ASAP. For Shifting Tree, you want special finesse skills ASAP, starting with Invigorate, and you also want to max out the Dark Within as soon as possible, which counteracts the Dark Realm penalty on your ki. For Ninjutsu, if going ninja, obviously get all the shuriken and kunai stuff. Get Sneak ASAP for backstabs, as well as Sneak Thief for extra loot. Gunpowder bombs are the fastest way to gain proficiency at the start of the game. And lastly, Nioh. It's really mostly up to you which one to get, but Purification Talisman to start is nice. Weakness Talisman for more damage to bosses, Barrier Talisman can auto ki post yokai realms, and gives you lots of ki recovery to boot. I definitely recommend getting that one. And Sloth can still be somewhat OP, but it's all up to you. But just ensure that you incorporate some of these skills into your playthrough. If you do mess up your skills and get the wrong one, you can actually reset them via the dojo, which requires gold. Regarding Mystic Arts, remember that you have to set them to activate them, simply by pressing X again after unlocking it. And if you do get both Mystics, you can switch between them whenever you want. Some skills will be locked behind doing certain missions, which you will usually have to do certain dojo missions at certain points in the game to unlock them, so remember to do them when they appear. They usually require proficiency to be able to do them, however, at least 120,000 proficiency. Again, the boss Deidara is a great place to raise proficiency for all weapons in Nioh and Ninjutsu. Without spoiling it too much, it has hands that can give multiple hit procs at once, thus skyrocketing your proficiency for spells and even melee attacks. A new feature in Nioh 2 is skill customization. There's green skills in both samurai and shifting trees, such as Arcana of Lightning. Once taken, you can apply them to certain skills in the skill customization window. You can only apply one effect per skill per stance, but it really can amplify your skills to do more damage, recover more ki, or enable you to apply confusion debuff by having an element custom skill on top of your elemental weapon or spells. You can apply these effects to multiple weapons as well. And there's actually more skills you can get from boss drops that give new skills to certain weapons. These are mostly from human type enemies, which encourages farming them. The strat here is to save by a nearby shrine, fight the boss. If you get no skill drop or smithing text, simply return to the title in the options and it'll respawn you back at the last shrine you prayed at when you get back in, and you do this over and over till you get your drop. This saves you from having to run through the whole mission all over again. And obviously, it's better if you do this once you're more powerful to farm them faster. And lastly, check out the titles menu. You can get bonus effects the more titles you unlock, which are like little accolades you can work towards, and you get special effects like more ki, more life, and more other stuff. Now, let's talk about gear and loot. A main complaint people talk about is too much loot. Well, in Nioh 2, you can filter what loot you pick up, so now you can set it to only get blues or purples if you, for some reason, cannot resist looking at every piece and stat effect of every single piece of gear, which is pointless to do in this game early on. However, I don't recommend using this setting, as now gear, even useless gear, has a major benefit for you. The reforge system is gone, and now tempering is revamped to where dissembling gear gives you Umbra Sight, which allows you to temper specific stats you want on your gear. You mainly get Umbra Sight fragments from non-purple gear, but you can convert it to Umbra Sight in the forged smithing materials section. So really, it's not worth paying attention at all to stats now, because you can just temper whatever you desire. Just sort your inventory by highest level, pick the rarest one you got, and then temper whatever stats you want till your next upgrade, which you should find upgrades every 5 to 10 weapon levels. Don't waste anything on soul matching early on. It's not worth it, it's too expensive, and while you can soul match corruption weapons to cores for a fraction of the price, you cannot use cores to soul match other weapon types or even armor. But regarding weapons, Team Ninja made gearing even easier for you, since the strongest weapons early on are yokai and blessed weapons. Yokai being better against humans and blessed being better against yokai. While endgame you'll favor weapons with set bonuses, early on key damage is a big deal, and both these weapon types will help killing enemies easier for you when you apply these ailments onto them. Blessed weapons can key pulse lost key from blocking, while yokai weapons gain extra projectile attacks after doing strong attacks when their sentience gauge is purple. And as I said before, you can soul match yokai weapons up with soul cores. Armor wise, the best thing to aim for is over 200 toughness, but below 70% weight. You want to be in green agility at most, but having over 200 toughness allows you to soak up much more damage as well as take less key damage when blocking. Most yokai have vulnerable spots that are glowing yellow with Amrita. Breaking these parts using high stance or vertical moves can force them into a brief animation to get more hits in, as well as drastically reducing their ki. You know, the monkeys that give every newbie problems? Try breaking their horns to start. You can also shoot them there with your ranged weapon to break as well. Ninja feathers and the ninja tree are powerful tools that can deal thousands of damage when the enemies are out of ki, so consider giving them a try instead of grappling for 1000 damage, as you can instead deal 2000 or more damage with one feather proc. You can gesture to walls or mimics to gain access to their drops without fighting them. For walls, you get 2 chances at guessing the right color, red, blue, or the yellow gesture. So if you get it wrong the first time, try a different color gesture. If you see a red grave near them, check it out. It'll usually say if they died to Nurikabe by using a neutral, positive, or negative gesture, to which you pick the opposite two to jump the wall. And for mimics, you simply copy their gesture that they do. And that wraps up the early game tips. Now, for some endgame tips, that is, Dream of the Strong. The number one question that I keep getting asked is the new gold inheritables. These are super rare inheritables that, like white inheritable symbols, can be passed on to other gear pieces once you reach the max familiarity of the piece with the inheritable. These gold inheritables, however, can be put on a piece even if it already has a white inheritable already. Not only this, but once you put it on, it becomes a normal stat, thus allowing you to fully max out the stat count of 7 on any piece of gear, as you can put on multiple of these stats, and you can temper change it to something else if you want. So even if you have a crappy gold inherit, you can add it to another piece and then change that stat for something better, so definitely make use of them. But again though, the piece with the inheritable has to be max fam to pass it on other gear pieces. So if I want my helm to have my gloves kunai damage percent inheritable, the gloves must be max fam, to which you soul match, and voila! The helm now has kunai damage. Unfortunately, getting max fam is rather difficult in Nioh 2, as it progresses very slowly. You can forge glue from the blacksmith to speed it up, however it costs rare materials to forge. Luckily, you can get these materials from the tea house trade. By doing lots of expeditions or donating trash gear you don't need, you can build up a lot of glory in exchange for this material. You'll also raise your clan bonuses, which can boost its effects rather high. But once again, Deidara comes to the rescue, and using Uchiko powders in that fight also speeds up familiarity gain on all your gear and is my main source of raising fam, alongside weapon proficiency super fast. You fight them, max out a glove let's say, and then you switch the glove for another one and you do it all over again. Now, inheritables on armor only appear on divine armor, so purples or less rarities will essentially be useless when going into New Game Plus. Lightweight gloves are the only gloves that can roll skill damage stats. Thus, with inheritables, either white or gold, it's possible to have nearly 50% damage increase of a certain skill, like say, EI for example. However, getting that many inheritables, 4 plus the gloves, is going to be a huge pain in the butt, but it is possible by forging cheap lightweight gloves over and over, or revenant trading with friends. If you do land a good skill damage inheritable, instead of simply putting it on, find a friend and dupe it via revenant trading. Which to do, you equip the gloves and die with them on, your friend kills your revenant, puts the gloves on, and then they die also, to which you can farm their grave for the gloves, and you keep repeating this over and over until you get your full skill damage percents on all your armor. Easy peasy. You can join my Discord for possible help on trading for certain inheritables, as the Revenant trading channel is usually bustling with trades. One further note, adding each other on PSN makes the grave glow goldish and increases the drop rate significantly. So make sure if you are doing this to add each other as friends on PSN, which after you close the app, you re-enter and get to farming. Do note that Harakiris do not drop your grave, so always either drown, jump off a cliff, or get killed by a mob. The max weapon level currently is 170, which is a really rare drop. You can mainly get this by defeating enemies and bosses in the last region, with level sync on. Keep in mind however that the gear must match the rarity of something you want 170. So if I want my level 160 Kusa to be 170, I must get a divine 170 gear piece to use as the material. A purple or blue one will not work. Sometimes soul cores can drop as a 170 as well, which you can then get a corrupt weapon, soul match it to the core, that weapon becomes 170, and then you can soul match it to your main, to make your main 170. The max plus level for divines is plus 10. The way you make a plus 10 is by combining two of these same or higher numbers together to make the next number. So if I have a plus 5 and a plus 5 divine weapon, soul match them together, it'll become a plus 6. 2 plus 6s equals 7, so repeat this until you get plus 10. The highest plus number divine you can get from drops is plus 4, so to get a plus 10, you're gonna need 64 plus 4 weapons or armor to make a plus 10. That's a lot, so you can either grind that out or just wait till DLC for an easier time at getting plus levels, which will make all that grind irrelevant. To progress to new regions in New Game Plus, there's a segmented progress bar when you view the region selection map. Each of those segments fills up as you do more missions. You unlock 2 regions from the start of New Game Plus, meanwhile there's 5 segments. So in other words, you need to do many missions to unlock each new segment till you can unlock all 7 regions. And beating the final mission in the 7th region awards you a Yasukani, Magatama. The remodel feature is unlocked in New Game Plus as well. However, you must save Toyo's grandfather in his side mission in Region 6 in New Game. He lets you change the scaling of weapons. There's 3 stats they scale with, usually having B+ as the highest scaling. So instead of being locked into raising say, magic for Switchclave, even though you won't be using magic much, you can instead change the scaling to skill or constitution at an A scaling. And you can even make 2 of the stats A scaling at the cost of reducing the 3rd stat scaling to basically nothing, which is useful when going for 299 stats. It's unfortunate that this is New Game Plus only, as most people will end up spending points in a stat just for scaling, even though they could be spending it on a lower scaling weapon stat, but also receive benefits like extra key recovery from Constitution, or extra ninjutsu power from skill, instead of magic, which isn't worth investing past 30 into if not going a full mage build. For those looking for universal soul core inheritables, aka mortal soul cores, which can be soul matched to any core, and they also have the ability to change your core's alignment to a different colored form, gaining bonuses from certain skills, like in the shifting tree, well, the mission The Brother's Blade in Region 3 has a Revenant mini-boss that seemingly has a 100% chance to drop a mortal core. The trick that makes this good, however, is so long as you don't destroy the crystal, he'll continually respawn, which enables you to Earth Folding or travel Amulet back to the first shrine, and then you simply run back to him, kill him again, Earth Folding, and repeat and get dozens of cores easily, which may have inheritables to put on rare cores like Kappa that you don't get often, or boss cores like Otakamaru that you don't want to fight over and over for chances at inheritables. But just make sure to have some ammo, as there's a Rocket Fist dude you want to kill with a ranged weapon to prevent it from hitting you. Ninja build is great for this since you can just ignore that and just throwing knife the Revenant guy to death. Again though, don't destroy the crystal. Simply bait him out towards the infected shrine and 1v1 him. After you're done, you simply beat the main mission boss, which can also drop a core, and reap your rewards. You might be able to do this in co-op as well, but I haven't tested. Quality and Fabled Umbracite are a pain to get. You're limited to 4 quality Umbracite a day, 2 from New Game Twilight missions, and 2 from New Game Plus Twilight missions. However, you can do co-op via a visitor, and you can actually get more quality and even Fabled Umbracite from rewards or as drops from enemies you kill. So they definitely encourage co-op in this game to speed up the build making process. Of course, we can be here all day with juicy tips, but let's end it here now for the sake of my voice. Hopefully you got the most important tips down so you can get the maximum benefit from the video. In the description will be some links to other resources, like what stats you can temper within each group, and who to farm for smithing text. If you got more tips to share with players, make sure to leave a comment down below. Alternatively, you can join my Discord where many players help each other out, as well as do Revenant trading. Link in the video description. But make sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed the video, join the channel to support me, and to see more videos like this in the future. I appreciate the extra support from you goons a lot. And lastly, subscribe for more Nioh 2 epicness.